know it said that. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it.
Okay, so my name's Adeline, and today we're going to be doing more of a slow flow centered around some deep hip openers and just working on our legs and maybe some balance and twists thrown in there, if you're okay with that. So we're going to start either laying down on your back or seated, whatever you prefer. And then as you come to arrive here, you can allow your eyes to close, maybe finding a soft gaze in front of you. And then you can begin to notice your surroundings from here, bringing your awareness to any sounds in the room, the temperature of the room, maybe if there's a smell in the room that you notice. And from here, you can start to become aware of your breath. Without changing anything or without judging your breath, just start to notice the connection between your body and how you feel when you breathe. Maybe you take one hand to your chest and one hand to your stomach, and you start to notice the rise and the fall of your stomach as you breathe. Maybe you notice how it feels when your breath travels from your stomach to your chest and then back down through your chest, your ribs, and your stomach. You can keep your hands here or put them wherever they feel okay, maybe on your knees. Noticing the expansion of your ribs and your chest as you breathe. Allowing your body to soften with every breath. And releasing any tension that you don't need. Maybe it's in your jaw, in your forehead, your eyebrows. Just continue this breath. Imagine that with every exhale, you sink a little deeper into the earth. You can start to feel your connection with the ground. Today, we can focus on compassion, taking time to come as you are and taking only what you need for your body, for your mind, and for your practice. Meeting just as you are today, with no judgment or expectations. Noticing your energy of the day. Maybe you had a busy morning, afternoon, and just taking this time to come as you are. Whenever you feel your thoughts starting to drift away during practice, maybe just bring your attention back to your breath. Taking 3 more slow, deep breaths. If it's in your practice to set an intention, you might do so now. Maybe today that is just to act with compassion for ourselves and for others, or maybe it's something different. Maybe you just want to take this time to be grateful for showing up, and leaving it all on your mat. Taking one more breath, maybe to seal that intention. And you can slowly start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe roll out your shoulders and your neck. And whenever you're ready, allowing your eyes to open. On our next inhale, we're going to stretch our arms overhead. And then exhale, we're going to twist over to the right. Try to keep your back and your pelvis tucked in and straight. And as we exhale, coming back to center. Inhale to the left side. Exhale back to center. And one more time on each side. Exhale to the right. Inhale through center. And exhale to the left. And from here, we're going to make our way to tabletop. So however you want to get there, taking your time. In tabletop, your hands are spread out, your fingers, there's a lot of space in between them, and you're underneath your shoulders and your knees are tucked underneath your hips. So just finding the stable point here and feeling your breath as you connect with the ground. We're going to go through some cat-cow stretches. So as you inhale, you're going to look up, arching your back. And exhale, you're going to round the spine and tuck your chin in. Inhale to look up. And then just taking this a few more times on your own breath. Just finding whatever feels good for you. And then finding whatever organic movement feels okay. Maybe some body rolls as you continue your cat-cow. Just getting some movement into your spine before our practice today. And from here, we're going to step up to the top of the mat, making our way to mountain pose. You can roll up really slowly, having your head be the last thing to rise all the way up. And then from here, we're just going to wiggle out our fingers and toes, maybe our wrists a little bit. Just getting movement into those smaller joints that we sometimes tend to neglect. And then from here, making a swimming motion with your arms. I might hit my fan. I need to back up. Taking a few forward. Remembering to breathe here, and then maybe switching it, taking your arms backwards, like you're swimming. And widening your stance a little bit, we're just gonna swing our arms out. This is called knocking at the doors of life, and I think it just feels really good in between postures sometimes for your arms. So whenever you feel complete there, we're going to make our way to the top of the mat for a couple half sun salutations. So you're going to inhale, arms come up. Maybe you find a slight back bend. Exhale, fold, coming all the way to the ground or close to it. Inhale to half lift. Your hands can come to your shins, and you're going to flatten your back and look forward. Exhale, folding it again. And inhale, coming all the way up. Maybe finding a slight back bend. Exhale to your fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, folding it again. Inhale, bending the knees, coming all the way up. And then one more time, exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, folding it again. Inhale, rising all the way up. And this time we're going to do a full sun salutation. So just exhaling as your arms come down to fold. Inhale to half lift. Exhale, we're going to plant the hands and step the feet back, finding our plank pose. And then on this first one, we're going to do knees, chest, chin. So just lowering your knees down. And then as you start to lower your upper body, you're going to press your elbows towards the sides of your body. And then inhaling to your back bend, you can find a baby cobra or maybe an upward facing dog. And then exhale to downward facing dog. So your hips are trying to get as high as they can towards the ceiling. And you can pedal out your feet here, finding whatever movement feels good. If your knees are bent, that's okay. They don't have to reach the mat. And then finding stillness here for about 3 breaths. Grounding down through all 10 fingers, all 10 toes. One more breath. And then lowering the knees down into our tabletop. Maybe you come into a child's pose for a breath or two. Noticing how your energy has changed now that we've moved around a bit. And noticing how your breath may be a little faster than how we started. Coming back up into tabletop, we're going to go into a low lunge series. So stepping your right knee forward and your left knee can be back. So just finding balance here. Maybe if you have blocks, you can have them on either side of your foot. If not, that's okay. It can also be on the ground. And then just finding this stretch in your left thigh. Reconnecting with your breath here. And then on our exhale, we're going to push our hips back, straightening the right foot, right leg. And we're going to go into our half split. So your right toes are faced towards the ceiling. And you'll be able to feel that in the back of your right thigh. And then coming forward over top of that right foot. We're just going to take this a few times. So as you exhale, pushing your hips backwards, straightening that right leg. And on your inhale, coming forward over the right toes. And just taking that a few more times on your own pace with your breath. Maybe 1 or 2 more breaths. And as you meet back over the right foot, we're going to take our foot and go into a pigeon pose. So bringing maybe that left knee up, you're going to put your right foot almost parallel to the top of your mat. It doesn't have to be parallel, whatever feels okay. And then you're aiming to get your right glute almost to the mat. It's okay if it doesn't fit. You can also put a block or a blanket underneath that. And then we're going to start in our high pigeon. So looking forward, your shoulders are back. And then as we exhale, we're going to come down a little bit further. Maybe your forearms meet the ground, maybe they don't. Maybe you have a block underneath your head. And just breathing into any tight spots in your hip. Knowing that whatever you feel is okay. And a few more breaths here. And slowly coming out of that, we're gonna meet back in our downward facing dog. Maybe paddling out the feet again. Maybe you take that right leg, give it a few circles after that pigeon pose. And then we're gonna lift our left leg up, bringing it through for our low lunge on this side. So the right knee is down on the ground. And your knee is stacked over top of your left foot. And then we're gonna lean forward into that a little bit. And as we exhale, we're gonna shift our hips backwards, left toes point towards the ceiling for our half split. Inhale, we come forward. Finding whatever degree of lunge feels okay for you. Exhale, coming back. And then taking this a few more times on your own breath. And on your next inhale at the top, bringing that foot back into tabletop and maybe taking a child's pose. Noticing any differences between both sides of your body. And coming back up into tabletop, we're gonna meet in our mountain pose. So making your way to the front of the mat, however you like to get there. And coming all the way up, rounding down through your toes, through your feet. And just noticing how you're feeling now. From here, we're gonna go ahead and step our left foot back into warrior one. So your front foot is under your knee facing forward. Your left foot is parallel to your front foot, and it can be turned out however far you'd like, whatever feels okay for you. It doesn't have to be any sort of any degree that you'd like today. So for our warrior one, we're going to lift our arms up, making sure that your hips are aligned facing forward, and just finding your strength in this posture. Finding your breath here. And then we're going to go into our pyramid pose. So bringing your left foot just a little bit in, maybe an inch or two. And then starting to bend at the hips, taking our pyramid pose. Maybe your hands come to the ground, maybe they don't, maybe you find a block. Whatever feels okay for you now. You can bring your foot in a little more if you need, the back foot. And maybe tucking that left hip in a little bit, because sometimes it tries to turn out while you're in this position. There's also some different hand positions you can take here. You can take Yoga Mudra, which is just interlaced behind your back, if you want a little more of the balance piece. Or you can take reverse prayer, so your hands are in a prayer position, up your back. And those just add a little bit of balance to this pose, which can be kind of fun. And from here, if you want, you can go into your warrior three. So at first, just grounding down through all your toes of your right foot. You can start to lift up the back. And maybe your hands come out in front of you. Maybe they find the wall. Maybe your hands are in prayer. And maybe they find the ground for a little bit of standing splits. Whatever you need today. And slowly coming back, meaning with both feet at the top of your mat. Maybe you find a forward fold here. And inhale for half lift. Sorry, my computer's saying something. Okay. And meeting back in mountain pose, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So stepping, what do we have? Stepping the right foot back into your warrior one pose. Same thing, your right back foot can be out to whatever degree you want. Arms can come up beside you, on your hips, whatever feels okay. And just finding your strength here in this warrior one pose. On your inhale, bringing it in just a little bit. And then we're going to start to fold at the hips. Trying to reach towards the ground with that front leg straight and the back leg just tucked in a little bit. And same thing on this side, you can either find your hands by your foot or you can try Yoga Mudra, reverse prayer. Breathing deeply into this stretch. And shifting your weight all the way onto your left foot. Maybe that right foot rises for warrior three. Your hands can be in front of you, back behind you, or on the ground, whatever feels okay. And meeting back in our mountain pose. We're going to make our way back down to the mat. So we're going to inhale, arms come up. Exhale, we're going to fold. Inhale to half lift. Exhale, fold. Stepping back into your plank, you can take a vinyasa here if you want. You can do knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. And then meeting in your back bend. And exhaling to downward facing dog. From here, we're going to step. Let's walk our hands to the back of the mat. And then come all the way up. And coming into a wide-legged stance, however far or close together you would like for today. And then we're going to interlace our hands, finding our Yoga Mudra. And then kind of how we did in pyramid, just starting to fold over at the hips. If this doesn't feel okay, you can also bring your hands down to the ground. And then just bending into this wide-legged forward fold. You can maybe find some movement in your hips. Maybe you find your opposite elbows and just hang here for a little bit. Creating a little bit of an inversion. As we inhale, we can fold into our right leg, finding our Skandasana. So your right toes are on the ground and your left heel is on the ground. So you're kind of in like a side lunge almost. And then we can go back and forth. So as you inhale, you're gonna come back up and then meet with your left toes on the ground, your left heel is up, and your right heel is down on this side. So yeah, it's kind of just like a side lunge. And then you don't have to use your hands, you can put them on the ground. And then we're just gonna move back and forth. And if Skandasana doesn't feel okay, you can also just go into a side lunge with your feet all the way on the ground. Inhaling to switch. Exhaling to come down. And then finding this on your own breath. Inhaling to switch. And meeting back in the middle. We're gonna take some twists. So with your left hand right underneath your head, and then reaching up with your right arm, finding that twist in your upper body. And exhaling, hands meet the ground. Left hand rises up, finding that twist on the left side. Breathing into this openness of your shoulders. And exhale, coming back down. And reconnecting with your breath here, finding whatever feels good. And then we are gonna make our way back to mountain pose. Inhaling our arms up, finding a slight back bend. Exhale to fold. Inhale to half lift. Exhale, folding in one more time. And stepping back into your plank, lowering down your way, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale to your back bend, and exhale to downward dog. Finding your breath here, reconnecting. And then lowering all the way down to your belly. We're gonna roll over, making our way to our back. While you're here, you can bring your feet right behind your glutes. And then just pressing down through all 10 toes, your heels. Pressing down through your hands. We're gonna lift our hips up towards the sky or our bridge pose. Tucking in your back and your belly button, bringing them together so you engage your core. If you have a block, maybe you put it underneath your hips for a supported bridge pose. And exhaling whenever you're ready to meet the mat. We're gonna move through that a couple more times. So as you inhale, reaching your hips up. Exhale, back down. Inhale, coming up. And maybe as you come down, you sort of roll down your spine, trying to get every vertebrae touching the ground individually. Rolling back up, bone by bone. Rolling back down. And from here, we're just gonna hug our knees in. Maybe roll around a little bit. Giving a little massage to your back. And from here, we're gonna reach our left leg out. So you're just holding your right knee in. Finding that stretch. Hugging it in really tight. And then putting it over to the left side of your body for our supine twist. So your left leg is still down on the ground and your right leg is folded over top of your body. Your right arm can be out and your gaze can be over top of that right palm. So you're in a full body twist.